All right, we got ice in it now. Let me just pick a box. Oh. Has the program crashed? Nah, it's a. Yeah, that music, guys. Yeah, it's. I'm gonna turn it off. Hold on. There you go. Let me just turn that off. Sound settings. Hope you're all doing okay out there, guys. You know what I mean? Especially after getting through all that food and so forth over Christmas. I'm lucky I haven't eaten much, so I haven't. You know what I mean, haven't got up hitting weight at all. Thank God. I think I've lost it actually. Yeah, because I don't celebrate Christmas. Yeah, I mean, what's the point of celebrating Christmas when we got tyranny all around us? And so I don't celebrate it. Oh no, where's the thing? Where's the thing? Where's the thing? And I'm looking for the. Oh, that's strange. Because on my main rig, I mean, you guys probably notice I'm not on my main rig, but because that's up in storage. But because of certain things, yeah, I mean, because I've noticed in Wales and all that and so forth, if you speak up against tyranny, you get everything taken away from you. You know what I mean? And you have the public around, the large majority of the masses, happily sit back and let their fellow peers to get killed or have everything taken from them. Mm-hmm. Because I was like saying the other day, guys, and I was saying like the other day, let's turn this down. There we go. Reminds me of that quote. I mean, I'm going to paraphrase it. I mean, where basically says, because I wasn't a trade unionist, I didn't speak out. I mean, because I wasn't a communist, I didn't speak out. Because I wasn't this, that, and so forth. So by the time it got round to me, there's no one left to defend for me. Remember that? Remember that sort of thing? Yeah. I see that now in modern day, where I see so many people around that say, "Oh, why isn't this being done? Why not doing that?" and so forth and all of that, and why are things going up? Why are this? Why are that? And then at the same time, by the time I mean, when it's time for them to defend against the tyranny, against the evil, all that, there's not going to be anyone left to help you. Because you would have let all of us die. Or imprisoned. You know what I mean? I was thinking that the other day when I was doing that walk that some of you got to see and all of that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I find it intriguing. Very interesting. You know what I mean? let's do the game. I mean, how many of you? I mean, speak out. I've noticed that you go around so far, and then those around you just let you. I mean, if you get bothered by the authorities, they just let you be attacked. So when you're gone, and then they end up starting getting attacked by the establishment and so forth and everything, and no one helps them, and then they go, and then so whoever's left, then it would be the one that'd be like, oh, there's no one left to help them. Yeah. Radical idea, guys. Maybe we help each other out so it doesn't get to that level. Maybe everyone should look into, well, I don't know, the smart cities. I mean, which are the many of us have looked into, and trying to get the attention of the remaining sheeple. And but anyway, oh, I've killed Deal or No Deal. Oh, it just went bye bye. Oh well, let's try again. Alright, let's type it in here. Yeah, I do miss having multiple screens, guys. I do miss it. There you go. There you go. Why isn't he facing us? My laptop's over here. Oh, that's different. Mm. And that's the only thing with this. I mean, I stream it from this. It's oh, I gotta be honest, guys. This is, I mean, this doing it from this laptop is aggravating. I'm so used on that other computer, mine just like, and then it's just like poof, done within microseconds. You know what I mean? Well, seconds. But doing it like this, yeah, it's frustrating and slow. Because my brain, I'm like, right, this needs to be done all over the place. You know, like it needs to be done. This, that. But with this, I mean, I'm just like, hold on, let me do this. What was that? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Today's Bible verse, guys, if you want to hear it. Everything's slowed right up, I know. All right. What's going up here? I might have to close something, guys. I might have to close. Right. That's closed. I think that was eating up a lot of, what you call it, CPU and stuff, memory. Uh, right, and as I've picked, was it box 12? Right. Oh no, we started again, and I got to pick the box again now. Right, today's Bible message, by the way, for the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Hebrews 4:12, by the way. And it goes on to say then, click the thing. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Although another word naked is there, guys, but it doesn't mean the flesh, okay? It doesn't mean this. I mean the body or anything. It's sort of about the information and stuff like that. So neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight. You know, what he sees, what's going on around and stuff like that. But all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. And the, what you call it, we're told as well, I mean, to go and see a priest and all that. What we got to watch with that, will that priest tell us the truth and nothing but the truth? You know what I mean? We have got to ask that question. Oh, it says no internet. What do you mean no internet? Unavailable. Off. Oh, it is there. Oh, look here. It's saying that I'm offline, guys. It shouldn't say that I'm offline. Alright, let's do this. Your data in YouTube. Why my data in YouTube? say Netherlands. Hold on. Why does it say Netherlands? I haven't got the VPN on. Hold on. I think I know what's going on. I think it's the VPN that's trying to sneak its way on. It does this quite a lot. Yeah, I got other guys. Right, let's disable that for a minute, and we'll sort something out first, and then we'll get into it. I know it's a problem as well. I mean, when you get one of these little laptops and all that and so forth, there's so much crap on it that you've got to disable as well. Because once you take all the flipping crap out, you know what I mean, it will run a lot faster. But at the moment, I've got I think it's the VPN in this case that's playing up. So we're gonna sort that out. If it lets me do what I want to do. You know what I mean? I got a writing pad here, which it doesn't allow us to do the game because it's saying process. Microsoft Windows, the application is not responding. This may think, do you want to end this process? No. I do think it's the VPN, but I really want to get rid of the widgets, the weather widget, and all that. You know what I mean? Because I think all that stuff run in the background, I think, is affecting and all that. You know what I mean? Somebody just had a mental shock. Not like people are so used to just listening to the BBC and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this person is this thing, but normally you get like people who just like watch the BBC and all that. And then when they come across like other doctors or so forth speaking, and it's like, wait, what? This is actually going on? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, you know, and yet we've been calling these other people conspiracy theorists and all of that. Because, like, what's his name? It's kind of an insult to people that have been killed off by those that are trying to protect the World Economic Forum and all that. Those that have been killed off for just speaking the truth against the WF. I mean, and those that have killed people like Dr. Buta and all of that and so forth, right? So when you've got like people trying to get the information out to the masses, say, hey, this is going on, there's this battle going on, is this, that, and everything else, and so forth. And I mean, when you get the Muppets, the closed-minded people that are like, oh, no, that's just conspiracy theory. And you say to them, well, who told you it was conspiracy theory? I mean, who actually came up with that terminology? Do you know? I mean, and stuff like that. You ask them the questions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, because as we know, some people say it's either CIA or it's, you know what I mean, the establishment, or it came from Tavistock, or so. I mean, at least we know, you know what I mean, people to point them in the direction of. But, you know, these people say the words, but yet they don't know who coined the words or came up with the words in the first place. The very same people that don't want the public to know what's going on. Yeah. Like somebody said to me before, people are like dogs. They're good at being a master. You know, a dog doesn't question, just follows the master no matter what. And was it it's either Zbigniew Brzezinski or Henry Kissinger? It was one of them two that said something along the lines of, it's easy to kill a million these days. Yeah, I mean, sort of thing. Much easier. I'm going to look for the proper full quote of that. Hold on. Let's have a look for the full quote of that. It's something like, it's easier to kill a million than it is to, what you call it. Something like that it is. Something like that. Let's look at it. Let's get the full quote of that. is easier to kill a million. This is why I hate mobile phones and laptops. I prefer. Yeah, Zbigniew Brzezinski. The quote you reference to generally attributed to American diplomat, political scientists. And the full statement provides a contrast between killing and controlling people. And it basically states, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people than to physically kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. And guess what? I can see that logic on so many levels. I mean, when you've got a society that doesn't, a society that is, intellectually lazy, and they are spoon feed through many different ways, like through the TV, the radio, or whatever, and they don't stop to truly think, have deep thoughts of what's really going on and so forth, then you are easily misled and you easily controlled and so forth. And just going along because a group of people or masses is trying to peer pressure you into going along with it isn't true intelligence. It is thuggery and all of that. So when you, when you got that mindset that is of a non-thinking level, and you just go along for convenience, and like the old ways of the experiments where they show that people will disobey anybody who, with a clipboard or stuff like that, or is an authority figure and so forth. Then when you have then somebody saying, "Oh, go ahead, do this. Go ahead, take that. Go ahead," you know what I mean? And if people think it's coming from like an expert or authority figure, despite the information could be good or harmful, they're just going to go along with it most of the time without even questioning. And that is a dangerous mindset. That is stupidity. Because somebody once said to me as well, why do I take long sometimes to choose something? Because I'm thinking on what I'm buying. I take a look, I check, you know what I mean? And on top of that, I don't just like go in because I like something and all of that. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking, with what's going on now out in the Middle East, you know what I mean? It's my purchases, funding towards just somebody being killed in Palestine. I mean, so, and the thing is, I used to buy Nescafe coffee. You know what I mean? I've stopped doing that now. I've stopped buying Nescafe. Instead, now I get like stuff like this simple stuff. You know what I mean? That's not Nescafe. And yet, when I look at people, at what they buy and so forth, and they have a go at me, and they say, but what you put out affects the children, and I turn around, what you spend kill children. And they're like, wait, what? I say, what you spend goes and funds this, and then these children in our country end up getting killed. And then I show them the processes and stuff like that, and how it's so. I mean, that's why. Yeah, I mean, people. I mean, find it me sometimes hard to get along with, because they're so busy wanting to condemn me all the time, and I'm just like, nope, you're not gonna do that. Hold on, I need to do this. Hold on. But yeah, I've got answers for them based on truth, you know? Because I've looked into it, and they don't like it. Ah, diddums. You know what I mean? Because I'm making a conscious decision, you know what I mean, not for my money to be funding something, then you know what I mean, to make sure I'm not funding something that kills another person. I mean, I've noticed I've looked like that I'm the bad guy and all of that and so forth. And then I see them at the same time. Well, you know what I mean, the stuff they are putting into their children is poisonous. I find that very interesting, very intriguing. I'm just waiting for the day where a parent or something like turns around to me and says, "Well, if I want to poison my child, I'll poison my child." Like, it'd be funny as well. And I'd be like, "Oh, so you admit then you poison?" I can't wait for that. You know what I mean? Because that's what we've got. You know what I mean? And they can't say they not. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you can go into a majority of parents, not all, you know what I mean, but majority. You know, because there are some parents that don't poison because they don't go along with the status quo supermarkets and all that. But what's a camera monitor? You know, I just tried shutting it down. It just went, no, we can't let you do that. Yeah. And one of the things we've got to get past as well, this arrogant ideology of, because I do it, you must do it. Yeah, I don't like that ideology. I definitely don't like that. I mean, I think, hello, 82%, 93%. Me personally, I think that is a stupid way of doing things. Because how can you have a free society when you got everyone telling you to be just like them, controlling? You know what I mean? You can't have that. And yet, because I mean, I've seen it growing up where you've always seen somebody different, but they're always getting bullied by those that are of a status mindset. somebody that thinks differently and so forth always gets bullied. Somebody that's not of a status mindset, sorry, gets bullied. I mean, it's like the stuff I watch as well. Hold on. Where they talk about basically those who actually take time to use their brain on a intellect and intelligent way, and doesn't just go along what some idiot in Parliament says because they've worked out it doesn't really benefit the public. What's going on? It doesn't really benefit this. That doesn't benefit anyone. This one way all thing doesn't benefit everyone. It actually excludes thousands to millions of people. You know what I mean? Those who just say, "Oh, you must go along with the government." So no, that one fit all thing doesn't work. It's ludicrous. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is as well. Yeah, I mean, because every note is an ocean, and people have said that you can do anything you want, but as long as you pay your taxes and all that, that's still put in the one fits all thing. It doesn't, and that's why we're seeing like this overstretch, the cracks and things, and we're seeing the UK is collapsing. I mean, that's why I've always said we need micro systems in place. That's why I've always said, I mean, if you want to go with government, then go with government. If you don't want to vote and so forth, then we shouldn't be punished by those that do vote. So in other words, if you're a person that goes along with government and you voted for a political party to get in, and then that political party starts doing things that you voted them in to do that is wrong, but you consented them to do those things. You know what I mean? So when those that haven't voted for those things, you know what I mean? In other words, those who didn't go to vote in the first place, because they know beforehand, no matter who you vote for, they are going to bring forth tyrannical agendas. So if you then went off and vote, then only you should have those tyrannical agendas to be done to you. Not to those that went off in the opposite direction and said, "Hey, you want tyranny? Hey, you have it. We're off. We're going over here." You know what I mean? We're not going to vote for that shit. We're not dumbasses like you lot. We're not crazy and insane and all that like you. And on top of that, which I find absolutely fascinating, the mindset of those that says, and it's been people that I've listened to that have seriously talked about it. They've also joked about it, and they've also done both. You know what I mean? They mix up. So there's been comedians, joking about it. There's been psychologists, philosophers, and all that I've listened to have seriously talking about it, as well as mixing both in some cases in one presentation, serious and humor in some cases, and where they sort of like basically the modern day people, especially in the West, it's a funny old thing. Because they complain about tyranny all the time and so forth and everything. And yet somebody who then tries to free themselves is then brought back in to accept the servitude and slavery of a government. And when that government is rolling out tyrannical agendas and so forth, they also want that same one person to be like the rest of them to fund for the enslavement and tyrannical regime. So in other words, it's like society and those around only want that person to be to have free. You know, I mean, in this way, how they think. They think, you know, I mean, if you got government over you and so forth, you're free. You're not free. If you got somebody ruling over you and so forth and telling you what to do and all of that and so forth, and if you don't go along what they say, then you will be incarcerated. No, what it should be like you're at this level of enslavement right now where you can go out and you think because you can get a job and all of that and so forth, you're free. But you're actually enslaved to the system and to those that are telling you, you know, what to do. But if you disobey, then you go then to a further level of incarceration and mind control, which is called, you will go in then to a physical prison with bars, doors, and stuff like that, and officers all around. So therefore, you have multiple levels of enslavement. You know what I mean, you got where you can walk around, have a car, you know what I mean, and go on holiday thinking you're free and all that because the government say, hey, because you pay this tax, you know, we allow you to do this. That's not freedom. Yeah, I mean, that's taking liberties. I mean, the Parliament and people in there are saying, I mean, oh, you can do all this, but if you follow what I say, right? You take government out of the equation and all of that and so forth. What if a neighbour said that to you? You can't go on holiday and all of that. Don't forget, the people in Parliament are just people. They're not nothing special, right? They're just people who write things down. You know what I mean? But say if that's, you know, say your neighbour said to you, oh, I mean, you can't eat this, you can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't buy an extra chicken. Yeah, I mean, despite you want extra chicken because you feel a little bit more hungry, let's say, you would tell them where to go. Where, you know what I mean? You would tell them to, well, fuck off, piss off. You know what I mean? You have no right on telling us what to do, right? And yet, that's the very same thing that is being rolled out right now, called the Great Reset for the World Economic Forum, where they are getting in the legislations, they're getting in the statutes and all that, the digital IDs and all that, to where the state then can say, hey, you're not allowed to buy an extra piece of chicken, you're not allowed to drive your car, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, and so forth. And many of you will go through the mental gymnastics of saying, oh, well, it's government, so we must obey. Well, you must obey tyranny and so forth, and yet many of us have proven it's just people in suits working in a building. Government doesn't exist. It's just those in Parliament, it's just those in a Congress and all of that that are basically pushing out more control mechanisms over you. What they think is best. Not what you think best, or your son or daughter or your uncle or whatever, so forth, thinks best. What they think best. What they think they should control your life over, and so forth. And what to take away from you and get you to fund it, and so on. You know what I mean? To fund your own imprisonment and how to clamp it down with new technologies and mechanisms, and also to take away what we once had before. You know what I mean? You just look at Britain. You know what I mean? We didn't have all these CCTV cameras and all of that, but yeah, because of management terrorism, you know, in other words, they, you know, the establishment, the authorities are go around using little social groups and little terrorist groups that they control and fund and so forth to get the public scared and in fear and all of this and so forth, to then give up a bit more of their freedoms, a bit more of their privacy and all that, to the point where there's no privacy at all, because we've all taken in the surveillance technology. I mean, I'm not saying not to have it. I'm not saying to have it. You know what I mean? Because I understand and comprehend that, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to happen, you know what I mean, if you have the majority go along with it. You know what I mean, it will still get rolled out. So I can say, right, no, I'm not going to, you know what I mean, go ahead and take some of this other stuff. But on some level, you know what I mean, we've all contributed to it, to the enslavement, the surveillance, and all of that. But the difference is, I am not going to sort of like say, hey, it's not happening when we've all contributed to it in the UK. This, as Joe Orwell would say, this 1984 thing, but it's actually, it's not that type of surveillance now, is it? It's actually taking on a new type of beast of surveillance, what we're seeing going on right now. I mean, we're seeing, a multiple of gaslighting and programming over the years, why people feel so comfortable on going along with it. And as the psychologists, for those who came up with these ideas of what we're seeing put forth, and the public is just happily going along because they hear the magic word convenience, and the other magic words like, it'll make your life easier, or you can't live without, or it's half price, or it's this, or it's that, and so forth, where they've been thinking they have a loss in their household. They think they have a loss, you know what I mean, that they think they need to fill through corporation and technocratic means and all of that. This is why we're in the situation we're in right now. And yet, the very ones that are causing the demise of the UK are not being held to account, and that is those in Parliament. Governments always bring down people's freedoms. Governments always do that. That's what they're there to do. Governments are, I mean, like one person once said, you cannot have government and freedom. You can have one or the other. You can't have both. One has got to go. And people are choosing freedom to go. And when we fully lose freedom, some people even say we've never had freedom. We've just had lesser tyranny at different times and place and this, that, and so forth, right? So if we've never truly had freedom, then, I mean, therefore, how would we know what the experience of freedom is? That's why when I wrote one of the songs I wrote, yeah, I mean, and it had a line in it, I mean, basically on the lines of freedom, and I say, I mean, this is why trying to free the dumb and all of that and so forth. I mean, it's hard work sort of thing. I mean, and that's why it's called freedom. I mean, it's trying to free the dumb to realize they go along with freedom is why it's called freedom. It's something like that. You know, the thing I wrote. It's actually, I mean, up on Mixcloud. The song is, it should still be there, unless it's been taken down by Mixcloud. But yeah, because we've been sold the illusion of freedom because they've given us choices where we can choose from, but that isn't freedom where people give you choices. You know, true freedom is where you can do anything you want with or without anybody putting parameters in place of the choices that you choose from. I mean, because it's like saying, you know, I mean, for argument's sake, right? You walk into a supermarket and all of that, right? And the thing is, as well, you go in there and so forth. I mean, you have been given choices to choose from and all of that and everything. I mean, that you didn't freely put that stuff there, so then you can make a choice clearly and freely yourself later. Somebody else did. So on some level, I mean, you were not free to make a choice. Somebody else put those choices in there, which you then are making a choice from. I mean, if you really truly wanted to have 100% freedom, I mean, you would actually go off and get the ingredients yourself. I mean, from nature and stuff like that. And even then, some people could say you're under a form of control of nature. But anyway, uh, but still, I mean, you sort of like basically you get the ingredients and so forth, and then because the creation of that isn't formed yet, I mean, you have got that level of freedom to create whatever you want. So then you then can you know what I mean? So therefore you have got a much more level of choice than you would if you went to a supermarket. So therefore you could say, yeah, you have got levels of freedom on a much higher level. Yeah, I mean, but you are being dictated by the environment you're in. But when you sort of like then you bring it down into then other people in Parliament telling you what to do and all of that and so forth. And I spoke about this on X this morning and something on this level. When you were growing up, yeah, I mean, as children in your parents' house and so forth, did you make the rules or did they? Yeah, they made the rules. No. So, when you then look at the government, we all see them making their stations and rules and all of that and so forth, right? And I'll want to go the long-winded way of it, but in short, as myself and others have said, you can go and research it yourself because I can't be asked to do the full description version of it anymore. End of the day, people in Parliament, well, government, sees themselves the parent and you as the kid, right? And because isn't it the parent that makes the rules? End of the day, of the house, and so the House of Britain, you got government and the royals making the rules and legislations, who they see the rest of us as children of the government, of the state. And that's why I came up with this. What comes next? Yeah, I mean, what to say next? And those in Parliament, and those in the police, right, and those in the courts are not going to like what I'm about to say next. So if the government sees us all as children, right, and all the abuse and torture and everything they put us through, right, is that then on one level child abuse? Are the police and the courts and the government and the royal families and all of that and so forth going along and putting out child abuse on each and every one of us? Taking it from their way of looking at us, not on how we look at things, right? And how they perceive us, right? So are they then committing child abuse on all of us? I mean, when you look at how their ideology and how they come about with things upon us. Makes you think, though, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, so therefore, people who use the court systems, this is why I will never use the court systems to try and punish somebody else. So therefore, those who use the court systems and all of that, are they happily to fund the establishment and all of that to cause child abuse on all of us? When you think about it. I mean, are your neighbours also going along with the child abuse? Are they happily funding the child abuse to be done to others? We need to ask these questions. You know what I mean? And I'm not the only one that have asked this question. You know what I mean? There's been the Pie Mash films, you know what I mean, that have looked into child abuse and all that, and many others things. I mean, that looks at the system, the establishment, and the governments for the child abuse being caused through the networks. So we know the system is very capable of harming the children. And therefore, as the government has sees us all as children, then we might have the right to claim child abuse. Despite being 60, 70, 40 or wherever. Because we've grown up in the system from a young child right up to the present day, we've probably got a very strong claim. When you're actually honest with yourself, truthful with yourself, and you look at the way things are. You know what I mean? But anyway, I know quite a few people will be like, oh, no, I don't want to talk about this, I don't want to talk about that. But if things are going to improve and all of that and so on, yeah, we are going to have to look at it. If things are going to be changed for the better. Just saying, you know what I mean? Because what I'm saying, guys, is the difference between just going along and actually looking into what's going on. I'll be back after, guys, as well, because I want to, because, yeah, part of me is like, it's like, I want everything where I can take away a lot of the background stuff on my laptop that's eating at the, I mean, the CPU and stuff. I'm going to try and take that away. I'll be back.